Hey folks, Cornell with YouTube Fishing Vids. This may look familiar. I was just out here the other day tearing it up on a Ned rig, but they were so aggressive on that Ned rig, I thought I had to get back out here. Conditions are almost identical and break out some power baits. Guys, I got a jerk bait on. The water temperature is, like I said in the last video, is probably in the mid-50s. It's a mountain reservoir. It's a little breezy today, a little more breezy than it was last time, but there's no film on the water. It's actually really clear. Little dink, but I got that on a little small-sized Yozuri 3DB. I actually got that in the mystery tackle box the month before last. That's a great little option right now for the sun. The sun's out, it's shiny, it's translucent, so it's clear. The clear water works great with baits like that. Not a lot of pause, just a quick jerk, and it's on. So there's the first fish of the day, fourth cast. So let's keep it going with the jerk bait today. Shoreline fishing, mountain reservoir, little reservoir, low water, right by the dam. Let's see if they're congregated over here like they were in the last video. All right, folks, so unlike the last video where I came down here virtually empty-handed with the exception of one rod, playing with that Ned rig, I brought an arsenal out here. I am on the shoreline and I had such a good time messing with that Ned rig. I was definitely wanting to challenge myself and see if I can come up with anything power bait related. So here's a little routine that I do. If I bring a backpack and have room for all this stuff, I'm going to bring one tackle tray and I'm going to bring one small tackle tray of terminal tackle. So this is all I got with the exception of a bag of soft plastics in that backpack. It's kind of like a day pack that you bring out on a boat, but here I am on the shoreline. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what I'm doing here. So when I first came down here, the sun was not out. We had some clouds. So I had this little twitch stick, storm twitch stick, which is basically the same exact silhouette as a Lucky Craft Pointer 78, but it's a lot cheaper. Guys, this is a lot cheaper. I customized it. If you haven't seen my video, go check out the video where I actually customize my jerkbaits to suspend perfectly when in some cases the suspending jerkbaits aren't suspending right out of the box the way you'd want them to. So that's what these little lead strips are. You guys got to check out the video where I hooked that one up and show a little customization to your jerkbaits. But what I've got here is a little bit of everything I could play with from the shore. And again, real important point, the reason why I'm bringing a less expensive jerkbait is because I'm shoreline fishing. I'm not going to have the opportunity to retrieve my baits. If I get hung up on a rock or do anything like that, I may not want to throw the Lucky Craft. So there's an expensive Lucky Craft Pointer 78. I'm probably not going to throw that today. Hopefully these fish are liking the Storm Twitch Stick. It's an awesome little bait, great price point, great way to go. So I got all kinds of stuff in here. Here's another little bait. Silhouette of the Mega Bass. That's a small size version in the Rick Clunn. I believe that's the STX little Rick Clunn. I got those at Dick's. These are great. Reasonable price points. Upgrade those hooks and those split rings and customize them. Try and get that thing suspended perfectly. Great little deal for the shoreline opportunity. Square bills. We got square bills. We've got Bandit 100s, crappie patterns, because these reservoirs have tons of crappie. Little what is this? This is a bluegill pattern. I think this is just a Series 3 Strike King, just a Series 3, not an XD, just a basic Series 3 that's going to go down about 6 to 8 feet. Might be a little tricky in here depending on how deep the water is, but great option from shoreline. And all kinds of stuff, guys. I got, you know, DT4s, the Rapalas. I've got DT6s, depending on what I'm going to do. But I'm really also anxious to throw some of these swim baits. You know, if I got a swim bite opportunity here, I might throw some of those. So that's what my little day pack is. It's got all kinds of great little crankbaits, 1/4 ounce rattle traps from the shore are great, inexpensive, reasonable price point for a lipless crank. And no question, I've got a few of the shadow wraps. So I got the Rapala shadow wraps and the shadow wrap shad. So that's kind of what's going on in here. I'm going to play with all of this. I'm going to beat the banks. I may not have that second angle with that single monopod camera, but I might be running around. And here's the day pack for terminal tackle. Guys, I've got all kinds of stuff. Here's an opportunity for you to go through your tackle trays, pull out some of the stuff that you normally wouldn't want to throw if you're throwing from the shoreline. If you've got some older bait and tackle or terminal tackle that you want to get through and know that there's a chance of snags in some of the shoreline spots you're fishing, here's some old tube baits. I mean, these are some older ones. I mean, a little film will rust on them even. I'm going to clean that up and make sure the hook's sharp, but I might throw some tube baits out here. So go through your older tackle, older terminal tackle especially. If you guys don't want to throw some of the more expensive shaky heads like my Ultra Head by Owner, I reached in there and found some of my older spot remover shaky heads, and I even found some old school, I don't even know the name of these things, but with the rocks and everything else, I've got these great little football head style shaky heads. So these shaky heads I've had for a while. I've been really a big fan of these Owner Ultra heads, but I'm not going to want to lose those more expensive Ultra heads. I might just go ahead and throw these old school football head shaky heads that I've had in the tackle trays forever and haven't used them, knowing I might lose a couple of these rocks from the shoreline, not be able to get them back. So I got a little plethora of everything in here, guys. I've got drop shots, drop shot weights. I got little split shot weights that I'm going to hook up, maybe a split shot from shore. Maybe I'll show you that today. But in general, guys, just a day pack of terminal tackle, a day pack of hard baits and some swim baits and all kinds of stuff in here. And the soft plastic bag is in the backpack. So I'm going to change up. Clouds just came out. Got one little dink on that DB, what's that, the 3DB jerk bait. And with the clouds out right now, I'm going to go ahead and go back. Well, not clouds out, clouds in. All right, so we're going to take that reflective deal off. I'm going to go ahead and try the twitch stick. That's that storm twitch. The sun's coming in and out, but I only got one bite on that one. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put this on. And for you guys that have been asking, really, really crucial, this is not a snap swivel. It's just a snap. So this is a snap, and in a lot of my videos I've been showing it. It's the Owner hyper welded quick snap. So I take off the O-rings. The split ring's gone. I'm just using the snap. It's quick interchange. You're not losing any action. You're not altering the action. The big question is, do you lose action or do you alter the action? Basically, with that snap, you're able to interchange your baits that much quicker. There's no swivel on it. It's just a snap. So it's basically just doing the same thing the O-ring's doing. But in fact, you're losing the worry that that knot may slip in between the actual O-ring slits. So it's actually maybe it's a better deal that you're not going to cut your line, or you're not going to have your line slide in between the split rings little groove there. So that's a really good big advantage. Not to mention you can interchange your baits that much quicker and get back out of the water and catch more fish. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this guy and see how it goes. Okay, so I've given the matted bone, actually it's actually pretty much a pure bone white storm twitch stick, that small size. Gave that around. That's more suspending than that 3DB was. I was hoping to get a little suspended jerkbait bite out there, see if I can let it pause for a little bit longer. They're not biting, so I'm going to change it up. I'm going to try maybe 1 or 2 more jerkbaits, and I'm going to go change up and see if I can throw another couple of power baits out here and see if I can get them going. So the sun keeps coming in and out. With the sun keep coming in and out like that, I'm going to go ahead and change up to a little more reflective finish. This is the Rapala shadow wrap shad and a perch. I know there's perch in here, so we're going to try and match the hatch with that little guy. Clip her on and we're on our way. All right, let's see what we can do. All right, so I gave that shadow wrap shad in the perch pattern. That's actually the shallow diver. That's not the deepest version that they've got. But as I do in most of my videos, and I try to do in all my videos, I go over the exact setup in which I'm using these baits. So like I said, that's a shadow wrap shad. That's my jerk bait rod. This is actually the jerk bait special by Lew's. It's their custom speed stick. So the jerk bait special in detail is 6'7". It's a medium action, moderate fast. It's got a little moderate action, great tip, real short handle. So when you're doing those jerks, you're not getting that short handle bumping into your forearm. So that's the rod. This is the Team Lew's Light LFS Speed Spool series. That's that really great, real smooth, super light Lew's reel that I got on there with Invisex Cigar 12-pound test. That's actually the 12-pound test I got on there. Real versatile rod. I might actually change up now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the jerk bait. I've thrown about 3 different jerk baits out here. I got one little dink on that little 3DB Yozuri. I'm going to switch up. I'm going to throw a little 1/4 ounce rattle trap on this rod in this setup. And I'm going to go out there and burn it, let it sink, burn it, let it sink. I'm going to do a couple yo-yos and see if I can get those fish to react to a little chrome black 1/4 ounce rattle trap. Hang tight. All right, let's say goodbye to that shadow wrap shad. I leave my baits kind of in the sun right there. If they're all wet and we got a little bit of wind and sun, those baits are going to dry off really good. You don't want to put wet baits back in your tackle tray and close it up. Just let it stay open if you're doing some shoreline fishing. If you're sitting in one spot for a little while, that is, keeps everything dry and keeps everything from rusting out on you guys. It's a little tip. I want to consider doing that. But here we go. Yeah, these are these hook covers. If you didn't notice, I got all my hooks covered with these awesome little hook covers. You can get these anywhere. Bass Pro Shops has them. Get them online. Just keeps everything really organized, real easy to retrieve your baits. Nothing's tangled up, and you know what I'm talking about, folks. Boy, these things can get messy in these trays. Oh, look at that. I actually already had one of those snaps on this one, and I had cut it off. So let me just take that snap off real quick of that black back chrome 1/4 ounce classic rattle trap right on the hyper welded quick snap as we talked about. And away we go. Let's try some rattle trap action. Okay folks, I've put up the rattle trap. That wasn't working. So one dink on a jerkbait, tried 2 other jerkbaits that didn't pull out any fish. Got the rattle trap out, burned that across this real windy little pocket here, and nothing. So again, real pressured lake, real clear lake. The wind's great, the time of year is right for those kind of baits, but again, when you've got pressured shoreline situations, you've got fish that have seen it all. Sometimes you just got to keep moving around and finding different things. So here we go. This is going to be square bill time. So this is the flat-sided Little John. So this is the, I believe, just the ghost pattern, ghost minnow pattern, real translucent. Again, clouds are in and out. We've got ripple on the water, and it's a subtle, real dull little, it's got that little soft tungsten in there. It's got a real weight transfer system, and it's not so loud a rattle. So hopefully this is going to get down deep enough to where some of those fish were the other day eating that Ned rig. So let's go square bill. Let's see if we can do something with this. All right, so we're going to see if we can get something going here. I'm going to take off this flat-sided square bill, this Little John, and what am I going to reach for? I think I'm going to go just a hair deeper. So I'm going to get a classic. DT6. This is one of my better patterns here. Figures I've got one bait that doesn't have its covers on, and you see what happens. It really decides to grab on. There's a great little DT6, so that's the one we're going to throw on right now and see if we can get it just a little deeper than that one Little John was going. And this is virtually silent. There's really no sound chamber in these, barely sound chamber. It's barely making any noise. So that's the DT6 Repel. Let's see if we can throw that out there and get a little tension. Something a little bit more subtle, just a matted Helsinki shad pattern. So here we go. Well, it's definitely running deeper than that Little John was running. So the DT6 is catching a few more weeds a little bit closer to the shore. So I'm raising the rod tip as I bring it in to make sure we don't get any of those trebles buried in any rocks or too deep into the weeds. But it's real important to know, guys, when you're fishing from the shoreline, I promise you, crankbaits are pretty tricky. I'm taking a chance right now of losing a couple baits and such. The rattle traps are tricky. Jerkbaits are a little bit less concerning because you're throwing those out there. They're going a little bit more shallow and you can cover water and they'll come up and eat them. These crankbaits, I'm trying to get down to the depths where those fish might want to eat, and so far after that many casts with this crankbait, I'm not getting any attention. I saw one little dink chase it to shore as I ripped it through the weeds, and nothing. So guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and abandon the power bait effort. I did my best. I know I'm not covering a lot of water. I could probably walk this whole bank and probably pick up a fish here and there, but in this pocket with this wind, I know there's fish here. They were here the other day. There's no reason they shouldn't be here. So I'm going to do something a little different than the Ned rig. I'm going to get out my shaky head. I'm going to get my shaky head, which is doing the same exact thing that Ned rig was doing, but it does not have an exposed hook. I lost about 4 or 5 Ned rigs out here playing that routine and getting them hooked up. I caught 8 fish in less than an hour, but that shaky head should be the same concept. It's a little bit beefier. Maybe I'll pick up a couple bigger fish, but let me get that rigged up and see if I can throw out here on the bottom and drag it across those rocks and do it again. All right, so the last time I was out with Michael from One Rod, One Reel Fishing, and I made him that blackened fish sandwich, I caught a really nice one on my local lake on this shaky head, and it's still tied on. So I showed you that I got a couple older shaky heads in the box there, but this is the owner ultra head. It's already tied on. I've got clean 10-pound test, and this is that 7-inch Roboworm, straight tail worm in that oxblood red flake. So that's a really great natural color. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that. Hopefully I won't lose it on the first few rounds, but like I said, it's pretty weedless. I'm going to get down here and do exactly what I did the other day with the Ned rig. Well, come here. There we go. Shaky head, fellas. Real close to the shore. There's a little bit of weeds right there on the edge. And finally, after playing the jerkbait game, throwing the rattle trap, throwing some crankbaits, nothing but a dink on a little jerkbait as the sun comes out. There's my first fish on the bottom, about 4 casts in with the shaky head. So it ain't just the Ned rig that'll get them every time, guys. And what's really nice, like I said about this, is that like I said earlier, I was worried about this nice owner ultra head getting caught up on the rocks and maybe losing a few of these nice high-end shaky heads here on the shoreline, but not a single issue. It comes through the rocks beautifully. Didn't get a single hang up in 4 casts and got a bass. So there we go. We're going to keep throwing this shaky head and see if we can pull off a couple more. So hang in there. It's pretty windy out here. I'm really kind of struggling. I got the wind blowing right in my ear. Like I said, I'm not moving around much, guys. I've got so much area to fan cast here and cover water. I'm not really worried about beating up the banks. And there's fish here, so I'm going to be picking off a few. I don't have a lot of time anyway, but let me just quickly tell you what I've got. This is just like in my last video, not the last video, but the one I was fishing with Michael. This is the Legend Tournament St. Croix spinner rod. This is 7'1" medium fast, and it is light. I've got a Lew's custom speed stick light that is a shaky head rod, but this is pretty much the same kind of action, same power. It's got an extra inch to it, but oh, got a fish. Hold on. Oh, had a bite. That's what I get for fishing while I talk. All right, so it's a Stratic 2500 CI Ford that you see in all my videos, Shimano, and that's 15-pound test Sunline SX1 braid and a 10-pound test leader, about a rod's length, maybe a little less than a rod's length, with an Albright knot to the shaky head hook. So let's see. It's hard to talk when I'm fishing. Okay, folks, I put some time in with the shaky head. I got one fish, which is awesome, and this is going to be fun. Let's test out the power of the Ned rig. Jerk baits, rattle traps, crankbaits, shaky head. I went finesse, a little bit bigger. I'm going to go back to that Ned rig like I just did the other day, and after covering all this water with all those baits, let's see if that Ned rig really is what it takes to get these finicky, cold, clear water, highly pressured bass to bite. So I'm going to go rig it up. I'm going to get that thing exactly like I had it set up last time and see what happens. Okay, guys, this will be really interesting. I got the Ned rig set back up just like I did in the last video, and if you haven't seen that last video, go ahead and click right up here. I got it right there waiting for you. You can see how I've rigged this. I go over the setup, but the only difference from the last time I was out here with this setup is that instead of having a full top shot of, yes, you're going to hear this, 5-pound test, I believe it's a sniper. It's the Sunline sniper line that I have on there because I was throwing a spy bait and I had a full spool of 5-pound test over the 10-pound test SX1. This is about a little longer than a rod's length. I took all that off so I can change up the leaders as needed. 5-pound test is exactly the setup I had. That's going ultra finesse, and I'm not too concerned. The rod handles it. The drag's set just right, so I should be okay like I was last time. But I can change up to 6 to 8 to 10-pound test as needed, depending on the situations, the water clarity, and how finicky the fish are. But I'm going ultra finesse now. It worked last time. Let's try it again. Guys, seriously, first cast, and that's a nice one. Oh, I lost him. Oh, I can't believe it. That was the first cast, guys. It's 2 minutes. I'm looking at it right there. Let's see if I can sneak in. It's two minutes. Whoa, hold on. Barely 2 minutes in on the video, and I got a nice one whacking. I got crazy situations here going on. I got the sun about to disappear, ominous gray skies, but I'm telling you guys, this Ned rig is nuts. So let me throw that back out there and see if I can get them stay buttoned. Cast number 2 on the Ned rig with the wind blowing. Wow, it is incredible what this Ned rig is capable of. It is crazy conditions out here. It got so gray and so dark, and this thing casts like a bullet, drops like a rock, and look what it catches, guys, from the shoreline on a pressured lake. Seriously, don't you go anywhere. Look what it catches, guys. I mean, it ain't a giant, but tell me you wouldn't have fun coming out to your local lake, your local pond. Again, so long as it's not crazy weedy, and it's not, and again, even if it is, you get those weedless versions of these little Ned rigs. Seriously, guys, that is like the 4th cast. I stopped the camera just one time to change the batteries out, make sure I didn't lose something like this on film. But literally, that's like the 4th cast on this thing after all that power baiting and all that effort we're making to catch them on moving baits and such. This thing is so, wow, this thing is hooked so good. Look at this thing. That thing is buried in its nose, super sharp hooks, 5-pound test. I'm telling you guys, don't hesitate to drop your line weight. Sometimes that's what it takes to get these fish to bite. I'm sure I probably could have got him on 6, maybe up to 8, but gosh, if you just get that bite in the first place, you never know what's gonna happen. Back she goes. And that first one I had was probably about that size, if not bigger. Awesome. Okay guys, I made a little move. If you can tell, I've moved away from the dam and closer out to the main lake here. There's a point over here, but like I said, this lake has been drained. I guess they do that for whatever reasons they do it. The lake's been drawn down quite a bit, and pretty much the entire shoreline, I'm gonna sink up to my ankles, if not to my knees in some of these spots. There's a dink. Second cast on this little shoreline and close to a point. So basically I found this little rock to stand on. So this rock basically extends straight out to the shore right here. It gives me some stable platform to stand on and do a little fan casting. So little dink, still working the Ned rig. Had a couple bites over on the other shoreline, but I made a move only a couple casts after that nice one I just caught. So let's see if we can pick a couple more off before my time is up. All right, guys, way out there. I launched this thing way off the bank here, and I picked up this nice bass. Again, this is really, really awesome to come out here and do this. These bass are beautiful too. Look at the colors on these things. So nothing huge. We got one nice one today. I'm closer to where I parked, working my way down this shoreline. Only been here 4 or 5 casts, got myself a second fish. Nothing great, but it's always great because you're catching fish, and Ned rig strikes again. All right, guys, I'm just launching this thing, just launching it way off the bank, way out there, and catching some nice little fish. The Ned rig is just, it's hard to believe the numbers this thing catches. It just never ends. You know, you're gonna get your big ones, you're gonna get your small ones, but you just beat up the bank. So long as you're not getting into some heavy stuff that's getting that open hook involved, you're just gonna pound them. Jeez, that's a little bit better fish. Gosh, he's just surfing in here. You're gonna give me any kind of fight? Wow. Oh my gosh, guys, they're cold. They're not really lethargic. They're just picking it up and running. Seriously, that's like 3 in this spot, and I've only, honestly, that's like 4 casts, 3 fish. It's unreal. Jeez, it's getting to be like almost every cast, folks. I'm telling you, almost every other cast, if not every cast. Oh geez, guys, you know, it's hard to leave them when they're biting like this. They're nothing huge, but they are so fun. This time of year, it is so beautiful out here. It is really comfortable conditions. All right. Oh, this feels like a little bit bigger fish. Let's see. Bigger? What did I just say? Yeah, it's a nice one. Look at that. Awesome. Oh, definitely a bigger fish. Not huge, but bigger than those dinks. And I got to tell you, it's been almost comical. I can only tell you, I'm not going to show you all of them, but I sincerely have probably caught close to a dozen, not tiny dinks, but little ones. I can't show them to y'all. There's one of the bigger fish of the group. This has been magic rock. I mean, I've been killing it on a magic bait, the Ned rig, and I'm close to where I parked. Guys, I'm gonna have to call it. It's been absolutely unbelievable. Since the last video, a few days ago, I was playing with the Ned rig, and everything I've done today was in effort to challenge myself and do something different from the shoreline. But this time of year, you know, these kind of conditions in this situation in this beautiful lake, this Ned rig is just where it's at least for now. So guys, as always, I appreciate you joining me. As always, I appreciate you subscribing, and until we meet again, over and out. There's always one more cast. Again, very hard. Oh God, this is awesome. It's so hard. It's so hard to stop fishing, guys, when it's like this. And I'm walking around the bank and I barely, oh my gosh, I barely can stand every spot that doesn't have a rock on it. I'm sinking. So I'm working my way back around the bank. All these rocks are a little stable platform, and I swear it's the first cast right off this point.